It's title deciding time in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Australia Series presented by Mission Foods. Unfortunately, the man leading the series had massive dramas on Saturday and will not take any part in today's racing. Sean Henshelwood finds out why.
Matt Kingsley, we're standing in a spot where your car should be sitting. It's not looking too good. What's happened today?
Just pushing a bit too hard in qualifying and made a small mistake and paid the ultimate price.
Hasn't been a good weekend. You had dramas yesterday.
Yeah, we did a gearbox first gear this morning in practice, so we had to change the box before that session. And yesterday we had an incident, and yeah, just been in the wars this weekend, and that's the way it finished, unfortunately. That has put us on a major back foot, having the car not extensively damaged, but we're just going to go home, put our heads together and see if we can come up with a plan for next year.
Kane Rose, 996 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. You do a little bit of racing, but mostly in Victoria. Much plan in the future to actually go beyond the state borders?
Hopefully do a few more national events and yeah, see a bit more of a trucks outside of Victoria, but at the moment we're quite busy at work, so the car's ready to go when we can use it, and bring it out and try and stir up these boys with the Melbourne Strippers cars GT3. It's good.
It's nice on a weekend like this in Melbourne on a glorious, damp, a little bit changeable day. Experience around here counts.
Yeah, it's a very bumpy track, so you sort of know where to position the car, because it does make a big difference with ripple strips, which one you can jump, which one you can't jump. But all in all, it's one of those tracks you sort of have to grab it by the scruff of the neck and really give it to it, not like a flowing track like Phillip Island's a lot different.
Yeah, Kane Rose has been hugely impressive. These are highlights of race 2, the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge, with thanks to Mission Foods, great sponsor throughout the year. The pack went down to turn 1 and it all looked good until carnage occurred. Jeff Bobick and Steve Kepper had one of the biggest accidents you're ever likely to see at Sandown Raceway at turn 1. Ian Dyke's with me, and Ian, amazement that people walked away from that, an incredible high-speed off.
That is a massive accident, and credit to the rest of the field with almost 20 cars heading down towards turn 1. We've done a brilliant job there to see the field avoid more carnage. Those two cars were involved in a huge accident, and ultimately the rest of the field managed to get through turn 1 reasonably well. As we can see, Bobick is naturally reasonably unimpressed.
Now we've got this covered from all angles. It was a very hairy moment. Here it is at slow-mo. Talk us through this.
So Kepper comes from a long way back, about row 4. Bobick was on row 2. And ultimately, in a bit of a movement across the track, it's just a light glance, but under full throttle, it's unloaded Bobick's car, pushed him wide towards the wall, and as we can see, there's a disaster everywhere. Now, interestingly, on the onboard there, we can also hear that Bobick maintains full throttle for a long period of time. Even after he's copped that glance, he's at full noise, and hence we can see the wheels just spinning him from side to side on the circuit. That's probably exaggerated that crash a little bit more. So,
safety car came out for a brief period, then we got back underway. Jan Janadasa, the JJA 997, was in the thick of the action. Kane Rose and newbie Michael Locasano making his series debut, going very well. And this was the man that stood the most to benefit as John Trend, the pole sitter, carved his way through the field, had a bit of an off in race 1, but was showing all of his customary speed. Roger Largo looking to benefit. Matt Kingsley not taking part in after a big crash on Saturday, and Largo stood to benefit the most.
These boys busy fighting through the middle ranks here, and it's a busy track with a couple of chicanes involved. The curbs are very aggressive. Not a huge amount of adjustment available in the suspension of these Porsches, so it's hard to make it work.
Out in front, though, a 5+ second victory for Kane Rose. 2 out of 2 for the weekend. And gee, this young Victorian is a real superstar in the Melbourne's cheapest cars, 996. The rest of the field came through, and there were celebrations for Roger Largo, the new GT3 Cup Challenge Series winner. So, confirmation of your results. Rose from Locasano, Klaassen got home in 3rd, with Trend, Largo, Rankin, Boykarts and Knight completing the top 8. Let's hear from our new series winner, Roger Largo.
Roger Largo, that was a very, very exciting race. A great way to top off your first championship.
Yeah, this weekend's been a bit bizarre, really. If you'd said to me before Bathurst that I was in with a chance of the title, I probably would have laughed at you. So to come in this weekend and to go fairly well in qualifying, haven't been here before, so that was quite good. And then what happened to Matt, it's, pretty unfortunate, to be honest. Would have been better to beat him on the track, but that's sort of happened and I can't do anything about that, so I just had to keep my nose clean today. And John Trend was behind me there for a while, and I thought I just better let him through because he was quicker than me, and there's no need for me to take any gambles and just bring it home. Look, it's good, 2 races so far, to beat a few of the Victorians, a few of the local guys. They've done a heap of miles here, and it's my first time, so we'll go out this afternoon, have a bit of fun, and it doesn't really matter what happens.
John Trend, race 2, GT3 Cup Challenge. That's a nice job, through from 9th to 4th, but you missed the action.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. First time for everything. I'm normally centre of the action over the last few rounds, so it was good to get away and get a reasonable result. A bit of luck involved. Everyone zagged left while I zagged right and got past all the turn 1 action off the start.
But after that, great pace.
Yeah, reasonable pace. We're pretty quick yesterday, been pretty quick all weekend. Just got to look after the rear tyres a bit in these cars, otherwise you pay the penalty later. But otherwise it was good. Very happy. Looking forward to race 3.
What is it about this place? Seems to bring out the animal in everybody.
That's Sandown, mate. It's just a really good, fun track. Mixture of very fast stuff, bit of slow things, and of course over the top, heading down in towards Dandenong Road.
What's the plan for race 3?
Sticking on the black stuff and hope we get a result.
Well, let's see if John Trend can take his own advice, keep it on the black stuff. He's got car speed, there's no doubt. Final race of the year in a great season of the GT3 Cup Challenge, with thanks to our sponsor for this season, Mission Foods. They've been fantastic. A couple of key pointers on the grid sheet for the finale. Michael Locasano has been hugely impressive on his GT3 Cup debut. He'll start this one from P2. And over the page, a couple of new names. Lee Castle from an excellent 9th and Victor Zagami from 16th place, both making their series debut this weekend. Richard Crowell and Ian Dyke with you. Final race of the year. We're underway at Sandown. Championship all but decided, and the gloves will be off in the big finale.
Busy run down to turn 1, always shuffling for position. Largo on board now as we look from P4, 3 cars wide in front of him.
So we saw him wrap up the series in race 2. Gloves are off, he can race them now. Doesn't need to worry about scoring points. The Falcon Property Group car can be unleashed here at Sandown. What will this race have in store?
Another outstanding effort to get all of the field through these opening corners without a shunt.
It's been a rarity this weekend at Sandown, all sorts of categories having dramas. A nice, clean start. Good vision from the back of Sven Boykart's Mission Foods 997. John Goodacre in there, Dean Kuxamidis working his way forward as well.
On board again with Largo at the top of the hill, fastest part of the circuit, and a very, very tricky part of the track to get the car balanced. Deep under brakes, we can see a big move in front as he goes for the inside.
Oh, he showed the nose. Locasano Rose getting all crossed up and has a big fishtail, gathers it up, drops a bunch of spots, but he'll continue on and he'll be side by side, in fact, with Largo. So just maintains that position, but a big moment there for the winner of races 1 and 2.
Largo really needed to go outside. That was the only open space on the exit of Dandenong Road, and unfortunately that meant he was on the wide part of the circuit for the chicane.
On board with Boykart's Terry Knight, a man on fire in the last couple of rounds in car 22. Shoots one down the inside and gets it done. So Tez is on the move. He was awesome at Eastern Creek in his first meeting in this ex-VIP Pet Foods Porsche Centre Gold Coast car. Sold his existing ride to Lee Castle, who you could just see right of screen moving past Jan Ginadasa.
There's definitely no room to go too wide through that chicane. Very, very tight. So Ginadasa concedes the spot.
So away they go. The black 997 out in front is Ivan Klaassen, and he's got a handy lead. Behind the Locasano, now coming under pressure from Kane Rose at 250 k's an hour. And Kane's only done 1 or 2 rounds in the GT3 Cup Challenge, but each and every time he's done it, he has been on fire.
Same spot as last lap, up the inside. Can he make it happen this lap? He gets further through before the apex of the corner and does it brilliantly. Largo, opportunistic, also takes the spot. Now looking up the inside of Rose into the final chicane.
Well, this could be a drive from the champion. He can be unleashed in this one, Roger Largo, and drive freely without worrying about points. So we might see something special from the Queenslander. A deserving champion, even with a dramatic weekend, with Kingsley having his crash early in the weekend. And it should be mentioned, a massive effort from all competitors to try and get him in Terry Knight's car. Unfortunately, series regulations prohibited that, but a great effort and great sportsmanship throughout the paddock as well But Largo's been super consistent, super fast when he needed to be this year, and will be a deserving winner of the #1 plate for 2011. Lee Castle joins the series this year and finds out that the Porsche is a big step up from a Subaru production car.
Very much different this weekend. It's a new thing for next year, so we thought we'd do the last round and just really find out where we're at with it for the start of next year.
I think you're second early this morning.
Yeah, we had a good run in the rain. We're always quick in the rain. A little bit off in the dry, but we're learning the car as we're going, so we're looking forward to a good weekend. If only I could make the rain come sooner. It's really different to the Subaru, you know, and that's what's it takes getting used to. So we're not expecting great things this weekend, but by the start of next year, we'll be right there on the pace with it, mate.
A shot before of the two most capped drivers in series history, Terry Knight and Sven Boykarts, going at it. Bottled up in behind Brad Rankin. Rankin's been very good this weekend, Ian, right at the front of the field all weekend long. Arguably his best performance of the year.
Bright red wheels on Terry Knight's car. He's looking to try and complete the same move he did a couple of laps ago. He seemed to get a nice run off that final corner and working towards a move in turn 1 as we're witnessing two other cars trend up the inside.
Yeah, and just gathers it up. Largo tries to fight back. They'll be dicing there. John Trend's off. Trend has dropped it. He's gone across. He dropped wheels off on the exit of 1, and he's gone right to the inside there of the chicane as Ginadasa tries to pull his car up. So Trend has thrown away a potential podium with an off at turn 1, and what a disaster for the Victorian. Was so fast.
There's the car sitting against the Armco on the infield, so ran too wide on the exit of turn 1 after starting from a tight line on that overtaking manoeuvre. Got on the gas and it's sent him across the track.
Now, here we go, battle for the race lead. Ivan Klassen in the black and silver 997, leading the Melbourne. Cheapest cars 996 of Kane Rose, and got shuffled back a little bit earlier in the race. A little bit of damage on the front of Rose's car. Doesn't seem to be slowing him down though.
I was about to say a lockup, but with ABS on the car, it's definitely not going to be a lockup. So a little bit of a bodywork rubbing against the tyre there on Kane Rose's car.
And nothing rubbing against John Trend. He's out of the race. So battle for the lead is on. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, the final race in the GT3 Cup Challenge season will conclude. It's a sunny spring day at Sandown Raceway for the finale of the Shannons Nationals for 2010, but the action is very, very hot in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Australia Series, presented by Mission Foods. Richard Craill and Ian Dyke bringing in the action in this final race of the year. We've got a battle for the lead waging between Ivan Klassen and Kane Rose.
Rose working really hard here. He's kind of had a 3 or 4 car length gap for the last 2 or 3 laps, so he's working ever so hard to put the pressure on and try and make the most.
Back to this battle, 2 Queenslanders and a Victorian, and then Jan Ginadasa, one of the local drivers as well, right in the thick of the action. One of the longest supporters of this series is Paul Bolanowski, and he says he's had a great time racing with the GT3 Cup Challenge.
3 years of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge, missed one race. You must really love this category.
It's an addiction. And the race I missed was at Symmons Plains earlier in the year, and there was no way I could make it. I was overseas at the time. But if I'm in Australia and I'm alive, I will compete. It's a category that was designed for people who weren't going to make a profession out of this sport. The drivers, in a large part, are extremely friendly. We help each other out in the pits. It's not as if we don't want to go racing. We do have a go when we're on the track, but it's competition amongst friends, and that's what makes it so much fun.
It's one of the great appealing factors of this series, and the sportsmanship in the paddock has been well and truly evident this weekend. Getting Steve Kepper back out on the racetrack for this one, a massive, massive support from all the competitors, and great support to see Kingsley try and fight for his championship. Ultimately fruitless, but a great effort and a great atmosphere in the paddock all weekend long.
Rose here as close as he's been so far, lining him up. Klassen ran a defensive line down into Dandenong Road. Rose using every bit of curb on the outside of the entry and the exit of the corner.
So what can he do down at turn 1? Can he use the ABS of the 996 to his advantage? I think the answer's going to be yes.
That was brilliant overtaking manoeuvre. Wasted no space on the inside. Ran right alongside that car to make his entry as open as possible, and didn't even need much of a defence on the exit down towards the chicane.
This track's provided great racing all weekend, and it really is a leveller between 996 and 997 down the straights with their horsepower. The 997s are great, but that run down into Dandenong Road, especially the 996s, where you can just stomp on that brake pedal and know it'll pull up, have been so very strong. Here's Largo.
Top of the straight, over 250 kilometres an hour, and big commitment required as you're turning in. It's initially a bit of a blind turn in as you search for an apex, and keeping the car balanced on this fast change of direction. It's always an exciting bit of road.
Watch Knight, watch him gather up ground on Rankin there. That's the ABS working hard. How good do those red wheels look on the Porsche Centre Gold Coast Action Tyres entry, sporting some signage for Matt this weekend because he can't be out on the racetrack. So he's closing in on Brad Rankin, but Brad doing an awesome job. And these two garage next to each other all season long, and a great, great spirit of camaraderie, especially between the Queenslanders. They do get stuck into each other, something chronic off the racetrack, but on it, lots of good racing. Here goes Terry Knight.
Up the inside of the MDev property group with Rankin on board. It looks like Rankin just held it too tight on the entry to the straight. Now they're too wide through turn one. Little bit of a rub, not too much. They're leaving just enough space for each other. And Terry Knight seals the deal by the chicane.
And they give each other plenty on the racetrack as well, as it turns out. So Sven Boykarts were on board, looking back at Steve Kepper, has a massive moment exiting Dandenong Road. Oh, turn 4, sorry.
Huge, too early on the power. Just glanced the apex on the inside of the corner, or the curb I should say, and as we saw, very sideways.
So great drive through the field from Kepper with a rebuilt car. Here's Bolonowski on board, putting a move on John Goodacre. Another newcomer this year who's done such a good job, the South Australian in the Avery Scales entry.
Rankin now receiving pressure from Burkhardt, the next to try and attack the back of that 997.
Here he goes. Can he look into the final few corners? Not quite. Rankin well up to the challenge. Great fight between those two down at 1 and 2. That was awesome racing.
You can see Kane Rose as he comes onto the straight is using a good metre more road than the two cars behind him, and I have no doubt that's contributing to his awesome straight line speed at the other end down here.
Yeah, and pulling away at the lead of this race. Some really good standout performances this weekend. Kane is one of them. Michael Locasano in the Hallmark Property Group car, great newcomer to the series, and has been running in the top 3 all weekend long, and perhaps one of the surprise packets. He sort of came from nowhere. No one really expected him to be as competitive as he is, but he's put on a great show. Dean Koutsamides has been a full-time competitor in the series this year. We caught up with him on Saturday to ask his plan of attack for this weekend.
Yeah, look, I think what I'm going to do is just keep it clean, like I do in most of the rounds. I just want to finish it, hopefully go a little bit faster, learn a little bit more about how the car operates, and hopefully I'll do okay.
What's the attraction for something like the GT3 Cup Challenge?
Look, it's an excellent category. It helps me learn to be a better driver. They're a good bunch of people, and it's very well run. The cars are fantastic. And I just took delivery of the car earlier this year and still coming to terms with it. So it offers good circuits in a good environment. So it's pretty exciting.
Great to hear from Dean. Big improver this year. He was being chased down by Anthony Skinner in the PR Tech car. And two drivers we've seen quite often this season chipping away at the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. With thanks, of course, to Mission Foods and our great sponsors, Michelin Tyres, Racer Industries, Performance Friction Brakes, and Extreme Industries have been presenting the Best Presented Award. Dramas at the front of the field. Zach Klaassen, he's had an off. Oh, and he's had a big crash as well.
That ended a lot worse than it needed to. Klaassen got wide on the exit of turn 4 and probably a little bit impatient trying to get it back onto the tarmac with too much throttle, and unfortunately that Armco on the inside is not forgiving.
So ran wide on the exit of 4, and that was okay. We've seen that before, but this is where the crash really began.
You can see he had all 4 wheels on the grass initially. When it was 2 wheels on the tarmac and 2 wheels on the grass later, you got a big difference in the amount of grip of the car side to side, and if he was full throttle, which he probably was, as we saw, it turned hard left on him and ended in the Armco.
And a massive, massive impact into the Armco there, took a lot of the hit. Red flag has come out. As a result, the race will be called, but just enough laps completed to classify that as a full race. Gee, an action-packed way to end the season it was indeed. Kane Rose the winner, a great weekend for the Melbourneian. Roger Largo, the new champ, finishes second. Terry Knight, Brad Rankin, Sven Boykarts, Steve Kepper, Lee Castle an excellent 7th. And John Morris in 8th place. Juan Gonzalez Jr. from Mission Foods presents the trophies to our winner, Kane Rose. And there's our new series winner, Roger Largo gets the congratulations from the big man Sven Boykarts. Here are the points. Largo from Kingsley. It was pretty close in the end. Sven Boykarts third, and Gary Dan completed the top 8 after a competitive year of racing.
Roger Largo, congratulations. After the final race, that's you. That's the Australian Championship in the GT3 Cup Challenge. You must be pretty happy.
Yeah, like I said earlier today, pretty ecstatic really, and even though I'm the winner for myself, Matt Kingsley was the quickest guy all year, and put on pole a lot of times, won a lot of races, and it's really unfortunate what happened to him in quali, like I said earlier. And that's racing, and I'll take that. I might not get another chance, so I'm pretty ecstatic.
That said, you were one of the few guys who actually managed to best him.
Yeah, look, he didn't have a great run at Eastern Creek, so I got the better of him there, and also Morgan Park did okay. So, he's a great little steerer, and he's got a pretty old car, and he makes it go pretty well.
The old adage is there, though, isn't it? To finish first you have to finish.
Yeah, look, that's right, and I just tried to keep my nose clean all year, and didn't expect too much of myself. Hadn't been to Simmons Plains, hadn't been here, so that'll give me good practice for next year, and see if I can go again.
It's been a good series this year, though, hasn't it? Seems to have got progressively better.
I think the guys are getting quicker in the car through the year, and good bunch of guys. Jody runs it fantastically, and fantastic year and fantastic series, and hopefully we can get a few more on board next year.